This is Santosh Mishra, Assistant Professor from IT Department of Akgec Engineering College. In previous lecture, we have understood what the JSP is, how the processing of JSP are done, and how it is different from servlet, what are the advanced, why we call it the advanced concept of servlet. We have covered, we have understood in previous lecture, and along with that we have started the different tags of JSP, in which we have started a directive tag, and that directive tag we have understood that the tags that give the directions to the JSP engine are called directive tag, and it is of page type. It may be of page type directive. So directive tags are used to give the directions to the compiler. With that we have understood. So this page directive tells the directions for the engine that the engine has to follow for the current page, current JSP page, where I have told you that the page directive tag start with this angular bracket percentage at the rate, and if it is page directive you have to write page, and after that you can use many attributes as many you require. So I have told you the language, import, buffer already we have discussed. So let us discuss what the scope tells. The scope of the scope directive tag attribute, this scope attribute of directive tag may have the value of request, page, session or application. That tells the scope of page, current page, scope of current page. Means, as we have already understood that scope tells at what extent you can access the things. So scope may be of request type. You can write any one of this any one value for this scope variable. You can write scope equals to request, or you can write page, or you can write session or application. If you have written the request as scope as request scope, so request scope tells the compiler that the scope of the things of the current page are till the current request of the user only. Means if the user send next request, the current page things may be not accessed. So request scope is limited to the up to the request of a client. If first request is coming, and for that the JSP engine is processing, so things may be accessed for that request only. If the second request arrives, the things of this current page may not be accessed for those second request. Means the things available, the scope of the page is to the request only. Similar, see in the second you can use scope as page. If the scope is page, then for the current page, whatever number of requests are coming, for all requests the page content may be accessed, because we have defined the scope of the page as page. The scope of the JSP page as page means many number of requests for the same page may access all the content of that page. In previous, if the scope is request, then for one request only the content may be accessed. If the next request come for the same page, that other request may not have the scope is accessibility of the content. But if the scope is page, then many requests for the current page may be served. Similarly, if the scope is session, in that situation, if the scope you have set the scope as session, then till the end of the session, from start of the session till the end of the session, the page content are accessible. And for as you have already known that, because in servlet I have told you session tracking mechanism, and I have explained you why the session tracking is required. So session, for the one session there may be a connectivity of multiple pages, that we have already understood. I have told you in a previous lecture. One session may have the multiple pages also to serve the request. So if the scope is session, till the end of the session the page content are accessible. So session handling is not required in JSP. As we have seen that in servlet, exclusive and explicit session handling mechanism you have to hard code in your code for track the session, because HTTP is the stateless protocol, and that understood each and every request as a separate request. So for tracking the different activities of the user, you have to track the session for that, and for that you have I have told you, by cookies, by hidden form field, by URL rewriting, and by HTTP session object. These are four mechanisms by which you can handle the session for the servlet. But in JSP, the session tracking is automatically handled. You need not to exclusively hard code the thing. Just you have to write the scope is equal to session. So till the end of that session, the content will be accessible. You need not to track. Need not to track in multiple pages. The content may be accessed for one page to another page. So the scope is higher than the page accessibility. And if the scope you have said is application, then the content of the page may be accessed till the entire application. Means for the whole application, for that same whole application, the content of the page are accessible. So you can understood that, you can conclude that the request has the least accessibility. Page is higher than that, session is higher than page, and application has the highest accessibility. So for this makes your life very simple whenever you are going to track the session activities of the client. In that situation, in JSP, you just need to write a scope is equal to session, or scope is equal to application, and things will automatically, the JSP engine will automatically track the session management. Things will be done automatically for you. You need not to write any hard-coded code. So page directive is aimed to define certain attributes of a JSP page. For example, language of the page in which the page content should be written, which class to be imported, and so on. There are a number of attributes that may be used to give the direction for the current page. Okay, this is the page directive. Now move on to the include directive. Include directive is starting, as I have already told you, whatever directive tag is there, the starting for that is this angular bracket %@. And if it is page directive, you have to write page. Here it is include directive, so that's why you have to write here include. The include directive is used to include the external resources in your current JSP page. And here there are number of attributes, like I am using file equals to this. File equals to this. This file content will be included in our JSP page. But you have to remember that this inclusion is just a static inclusion. This inclusion is just a static inclusion. I will show you in coming time that what this means. You have, if you have created a digital clock, and if you have included by this include directive, that clock will be a static clock. It will not update. The time will not move. So, because if you are using this include directive tag is used to include any external resources in your current JSP page statically at the time of compilation. At the time of compilation, I will show you later. So just you have to understand here that the include directive is used to include the external resources into your JSP page, current JSP page. So now move on to this declaration tag, scriptlet tag, and script expression tag. These three tags are collectively called scripting tag also. These three tags are collectively called scripting tag also, that has declaration tag, scriptlet tag, and expression tag. So all these three, declaration tag, scriptlet tag, especially these two, declaration tag and scriptlet tag, are used to write the programming language, because JSP is a scripting language. JSP is a scripting language. So if you want to write some programming language code in your JSP, for that you have to use this declaration tag or scriptlet tag. So declaration, what is the syntax and how is both are different, we will let us understand. So the declaration tag start with this symbol, angular bracket, percentage, and exclamation mark. This is the starting of declaration tag, and each JSP tag is end with this percentage, angular bracket. Every tag end with this. Only the difference is starting tag. So declaration tag start with this angular bracket, percentage, exclamation mark, and scriptlet tag start with this angular bracket, percentage, angular bracket, percentage, and end with percentage, angular bracket. Both are used to write Java code, but the difference here, we use, I have written declare all the variables here. For declaring any variables or functions, and the variable and function are declared in Java. So you can declare variable function over here, and in scripting tag also you may write the Java code. So the difference is this, that whatever code you write, means here also you write the Java code, and in here also you write the Java code. The difference is that in declaration tag, whatever code you have written, whenever it converted, it translated into equivalent servlet, the code written in declaration tag are appended outside the service method of the equivalent servlet. As I have already told you that the servlet execute its life cycle method in its service destroy. So whatever task you want to perform by the servlet must be written in the service method, and that service method inherently called the do get or do post method, depending upon what type of requests are coming from the client. That's here, whatever code you have written, whenever it will translated into equivalent servlet, that servlet have the service method or do get or do post method. If you have written the code in declaration tag, then that code will be appended to the equivalent servlet outside that service method or outside that do get do post method. And whatever code you have written in scriptlet tag, that code will be written within the service method, within the do get do post method, because service method inherently called the do get do post method. So if you have written the code in scriptlet tag, then that code will be written in servlet within the service method body. And if you have written in declaration tag, it will be written in outside the service method body. So what effect will be there? So the scope of the content are different. If you have written some code within a function, within a method, then that code may be accessed within that method only. And if it is written outside any method, that the scope of that code enhances, expands. So declaration tag have higher scope than the scriptlet tag. So whenever you want to declare some function, some methods, then method must be declared in declaration tag. Or if you want to declare some variable that is you want to access globally within that servlet, so that variable must be declared in declaration tag. And rest of the code you may write within the scriptlet tag. I hope you understand what is the difference. Outside service, inside service. If the code is inside service method, that happens in scriptlet tag, that code accessibility is limited. And if it is written in declaration tag, that code will be written outside the service method, and that increases the accessibility of that code. That's why to declare any function, so that that function may be accessed anywhere within that servlet, so you have to write, you can use declaration and scriptlet tag as per your requirement. The next tag is expression tag. Expression tag is start with this angular bracket percentage equals to. Expression tag is start with angular bracket percentage equals to, and whatever expression you write here are evaluated, and the result are automatically displayed to the client side, to the browser. The result automatically displayed to the browser. You need not to exclusively use any output stream to send your result to the browser. So you can use this expression tag whenever you require. Otherwise, you have to write out.print to, I am writing here some expression 2 plus 5, and to display that 2 plus 5 means 7, to display that result of that expression, you have to write those result in out.print method by using some scriptlet tag. But if you have written 2 plus 5 in this expression tag, so directly it will be directed to the browser. You need not to use any exclusive stream to connect your code to the browser window. So this way you can use declaration tag, expression tag, or scriptlet tag as per your requirement. There are a number of concepts remaining in JSP, so we will understood those all concepts in the next lecture. We will meet in the next lecture. Thank you. Thanks a lot.